America's choice in home care.
Hello. Welcome everyone to session 1 of our 3-session health and wellness workshop to help you age well, because really, don't we all want to do that? My name is Mary Ellen Wilson. I am your business development manager from Visiting Angels, with offices in Gaithersburg, Silver Spring, Edgewater, and Washington, D.C. And we also serve the entire area. For this very special health and wellness workshop, we have teamed up with Dr. Zykia LaRue. Hello, Dr. Zykia. She is just fabulous. Dr. Zykia is a licensed physical therapist and owner of LaRue Health and Wellness. And as a physical therapist in the Washington, D.C. area, she has helped hundreds of adults, 65 years of age and older, manage their pain, prevent falls, regain their strength, and get back to doing the things they love. So we partnered up in order to bring you this workshop. Like I said, this is session 1 of 3 sessions. So for the next 2 Tuesdays after this, we will have a different workshop. Today's workshop, we titled it Getting Stronger Every Day. Dr. LaRue is going to be talking to us about the role that strength plays in the aging process. And without further ado, oh, actually, hold on one sec. I do have some quick housekeeping. We will have time for Q&A at the end. So should you have some questions, what you will want to do is just go ahead and type them in the comment section, or you can even use the Q&A if you prefer that. Hello to our Facebook friends. We are streaming live on Facebook. So if you on Facebook would like to ask a question, you just need to type your question in the comments area, and our brains behind the operation, Miss Tiffany, will let us know when you do have a question. All right, so that will be at the end. We're going to listen to Dr. LaRue. We're going to be interactive. I'm going to help show some of the different exercises that she shares. It's going to be a fun, action-packed 45 minutes. Okay, let's go, Dr. LaRue.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to say that I'm so excited. I hope I'm not on mute. I'm good. Okay. I just wanted to say that I'm so excited to be here this afternoon with you guys, to give you some more information about strength, right? Because our strength is really important for us to be able to do all the activities that we want to do. Basically just to move, right? We need to have the strength in order to be able to do that. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in and joining us for session 1, all about strength. So first we're going to be talking about, how to get stronger every day. And how we do that is by being active. We need to move our bodies in order to maintain and also gain muscle strength for us to be able to move around throughout our day, right? So what is strength? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a definition here of strength and go into why it's so important, for us every single day. So strength is defined as our ability to exert a force or put forth enough effort to do a movement. So we need strength in order to move. Basically, if you don't have adequate muscle strength, it's going to be very difficult for you to move. And you might see this play out in your everyday life. So we measure how strong we are based on how we're able to move, right? So if you're unable to, maybe you're having trouble getting up from a chair, you may be like, oh, wow, my legs are weak. I can't stand up the way I used to. And you might struggle. You might have to use more arms to get up. Maybe you're rocking back and forth 5, 6, 7, 8 times to stand up because you have to
ready, set, go,
for
right?
not having that. Yes, and I have so many clients and patients who, because their legs aren't strong, have to do things like that in order to be able to stand up. So We need to make sure that we have adequate muscle strength. And in order to have that strength, we need to move, okay? So I'm going to be talking about 4 really important exercises, my top 4 exercises that you need to be doing every single day so that you can get strong, because we need to be able to stand. Yeah, of course. Do you have a question?
I do have to just ask. Every time I hear strength, I get a little nervous. Maybe some of our viewers do as well. Are you talking about weightlifting? Do I have to go get barbells and all of that? Do tell.
Yeah, well, so
And
you
will I
can
bulk
always,
up too?
yeah, so you can start off any type of strength training. It really just depends on where you're at and how you feel comfortable. So just moving our arms against gravity is strength training, because we have to move our arms against gravity. But, and we'll talk about this a little later, we always want to be challenging our body and challenging our muscles. So that's where you would want to add in some weights and some other heavier things so that you're actually challenging your muscles enough so we can see improvement. But starting out, this is enough, you know, sometimes that's really hard. So going against gravity is a great place to start, and then we progress from there.
Terrific.
I hope that answered your question okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. So we have our top 4 exercises, well, my top 4 exercises that we're going to get into that I think every active older adult really needs to be doing, because they are basic movements. And these movements are a squat, a deadlift or a hip hinge, an overhead press, and then a wall push-up. Okay, and all of these exercises can be modified based on your current level, you know? So these exercises are so important because they're movements that we do every day and we don't realize it. So we sit and we stand. Right there, that's a squat. We bend over and pick things up from the floor. Right there, that's a deadlift or a hip hinge. We need to reach up into our kitchen cabinets. We need to reach up to put on our shirts and our sweaters. That's an overhead press. And then when we're pushing and opening car doors, closing the front door, maybe moving that heavy crock pot after you've been making some fall soups at home, that's a push and a pull. And so we need to make sure that those muscles that we need to do those movements are strong. And the only way we can do that is by exercising them, by moving them, because you want to be able to do all of these things. You don't want to struggle to stand up. You don't want to struggle to move around your kitchen, right? You want to be able to do a lot of these things yourself and stay independent, because our independence is really important to us, right? It gives us a purpose. It gives us that feeling that, you know, we're able to do a whole lot more. And so if you're not doing something like strength training or working on those muscles, you're going to see that you might have some trouble reaching overhead into your cabinets to get out your plates and putting your dishes away. Or maybe it's, you know, you can't lift those grocery bags off the floor, right? When you used to be able to. So we want you to be able to continue to be able to do those things. And the only way you can do that is really by strengthening. So we're going to go ahead and get into the first exercise, which is the squat. So I hope you're excited to be moving around.
I'm really excited. Okay. As you can see, the beautiful Dr. LaRue is all of what, 20? I'm going to say
29.
29. So most of our audience is probably closer to my age, 27. No, I am 57. So I want you all to see that, yes, she's 30. She is a physical therapist. I have not exercised all summer. Long story. So you're going to see that even if you haven't been moving, you can do these. And if you want to get up and do this with us, great. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. So like I said, all of these exercises can be modified, and I'm going to do them all standing and then also show you how to do them in sitting as well. So the first exercise is the squat, which is really important, like I said at the beginning, because this is something we do every single day and we don't realize it. You have to sit down and you have to stand up. That is the motion of a squat. So you need to be able to do this basic movement for you to do your daily tasks. You know, you want to be able to sit in your favorite chair in the kitchen, the living room, your office. You want to be able to sit down and stand up and not think to yourself, oh boy, what did I get myself into? I can't get out of this chair.
Right.
I don't know how many clients I have, you know, in their home where they have this favorite lounge chair and they want to sit in it, but they can't get up from it because they're just not strong enough to do it. But this type of exercise is crucial to build the strength that you need to do it. It's crucial because in order to do a stand, we need to have strong quadricep muscles, those muscles in the front of your thighs. And we also need to have strong muscles in the back of our thighs and our buttocks. Those muscles need to be strong. And so this squat exercise targets those muscles specifically. So if you're out there and you're standing up already, I'm going to show you how to do the squat standing, but I'm going to use a chair as a cue, and then I'll show you some other variations. So I'm going to bring this chair over. Okay, I have a chair here. So if you're new to squatting, you're actually not new because you've been squatting, sitting down and standing up probably all your life, but we don't really think about it as an exercise. So for the squat, what you want to be doing is have your feet about shoulder width apart, but I try not to cue a whole lot about foot placement because some foot placement might be a little bit different and more comfortable. So I just want you to be in a comfortable position with your feet. So about shoulder width, but if you need to be further or closer, that's totally fine. So you want to have your feet about shoulder width apart. And when you think about doing a squat, your thought should be, I'm sitting back to sit in a chair. This movement should be coming from your hips, okay? A lot of people who try to do this exercise, they tend to bend at the knees first, okay? Which can cause some pain if you have some like osteoarthritis in your knees or some sort of disease such as that. This motion and most of the motions that we're doing today rely on your hips moving. This saves your knees and your back, okay? So when you're doing this motion, you should be thinking to yourself, I'm sitting back in a chair. I'm gonna go ahead and turn sideways here. As you can see, I have my hands on my hips to emphasize. When you sit back, my hips are coming back behind me, right? You wanna be trying to keep that chest up, and then you push down through the floor to stand. Now, if that movement was difficult, if you felt like, oh boy, I don't know if I can do any more of those, you can use a chair and do this exercise sitting down in the chair all the way down and then stand all the way up. So if you're able to do this exercise, we're going to try to do at least 5 to 10 of these right now. So I hope you have your exercise clothes on, some sturdy shoes, because we're going to count them out together. So let's try to shoot for at least five together. All right, you ready?
Ikea,
Do we have our, sure.
Before you start, are there any pointers in what to watch, like hyperextending your knees or anything you want them to be wary of?
Yeah, so like I said before, I want you to really focus on the movement coming from your hip. If you are not, you're going to notice that you may start to bend more at your knees, and that's going to cause some strain on your knees. So you don't want this movement to ever be start at your knees. Your knees are going to bend automatically. So don't even think about those. You want to think about your hips sitting back behind you as if you're sitting in a chair. So I hope that helped with the clarification there. Yeah, so what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to do 5 of these squats together. If you can do the traditional squat, do it. If you need a chair, do it. All right, so together, we'll count them out together, all right? We're starting in 3, 2, 1. We're sitting back like we're sitting in a chair. Great job. Go ahead and push down through the floor to stand up. That's 1. We got a few more here, so sitting back toward the chair, pushing down through the floor, stand up. That's 2. Go ahead and sit back toward the chair, push down through the floor. That's 3. Awesome. We just have 2 more to go. Sit back toward your chair, push down to the floor, stand up. 1 more. sit back, and push down through the floor. Great job. So I hope that while you were doing that exercise, you felt those muscles that I was talking about. Those muscles in the front of your thighs contracting,
Definitely.
the muscles in the back of your thighs, and then also in your buttocks contracting. Those are the muscles that we need to work in order for us to be able to stand up from those chairs, your bed, anywhere that you need to sit, because you all need to sit. We don't stand all day. We all need to sit down. So you want to make sure that you're able to get up. And those muscles are super important for you to do that. And this is an excellent exercise to target them. So I hope
I
that was helpful.
found that by having my hands right on my hips, it really, you're right, it really does focus you in on thinking about that hip and going back as if you're sitting in a chair,
Yes.
rather than just the knees going up and down.
Yes.
So that was a great little tip, and you can even feel
Awesome. Awesome. So you guys out there, make sure you use that tip, use those hands, feel that motion at your hips. That way you know you're doing it correctly.
Perfect.
All right. So that was our first exercise, the squat. Really important for being able to sit up, stand up, and sit down. The next exercise that we're going to talk about is called the deadlift or the hip hinge. Don't be scared. It's a simple exercise that you have been doing every day. And I'm going to go over it with you and show you how you can do it correctly. So, okay. So for the deadlift, this is also an exercise, as I stated before, you are starting at your hips. All the movement should be coming from here. And why these movements seem to be coming from your hips is because your hips were designed to do these types of movements, right? And when we start to compensate by using our back to do movements or our knees to do movements, you start to feel pain and discomfort. And you may see this when you're bending down to pick something up. You're like, oh boy, my back, how am I going to stand up, right? So we don't want to be doing the movements incorrectly. You want to save our backs and our knees by using our hips, which were designed to do these movements. So hinging at your hips is a movement you do every single day. When you bend over to pick up that shoe, that pen, that grocery bag, maybe it's like a dog toy you have to kick out of the way, because I'm kicking dog toys all the time and picking them up. My puppy likes to leave them everywhere. But you need to be able to do this motion to save your back and to save your knees, because those muscles that are doing that motion are the strongest muscles. They're the biggest. But when we do those motions with our back and our knees, we're relying on muscles that are smaller to do a really big task. And so we want to use our bigger muscles to get that done. So for a deadlift, what you want to be doing, it's very similar to a squat, but I'm going to show you from the side here. It's very similar to a squat, but your knees are not going to be bending as much. And so for this exercise, what I really want you to think is that you have a board right at the nape of your neck down to the bottom of your spine. You have a board there. Okay, and that means that this whole section of your body should move as one. Okay, and for this deadlift and exercise, what you're going to be thinking is this part of your body moves as one, and you're going to bend at your hips and then standing back up. When you do this exercise, you are going to feel it in the backs, in your hamstrings, those muscles in the back of your thighs, and then also in your buttocks. But you should not feel this in your back or in your knees. So same thing, if you need that cue to really feel your hips moving, you can have your hands on your hips, okay? And you'd be standing straight up. Imagine that board from the nape of your neck to the small of your back, and you're going to bend over at your hips like you're folding in half. And then you would stand right back up. For this motion, go as far as you can. You don't have to bend all the way over. Just go as far as you can and stand up. So this is an exercise that you can progress. As you get stronger, you can slowly bend over some more and then stand back up. For those of you out there who don't have the balance to do this in standing, you can do this in sitting. it's going to work your muscles similarly, not as effectively, but definitely similarly. So if you're sitting in a chair, what you can do is reach down, have your legs about shoulder width apart, and reach down and try to reach toward the floor, sitting down, and then stand back up or lift your chest back up in your chair. That will work your muscles similarly, like I said, but eventually, hopefully, you'll be able to progress to doing this exercise in standing, especially if you're someone who needs to be able to bend over and pick things up from the floor. You want to be able to do this exercise in standing as well. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do 5 of these exercises. Now, remember that we are moving nape of our neck, small of our back, as if there's a board there. So that part of your body moves as one. Exactly. Just like that. So that part of your body moves as one, and we're going to do 5. Okay? Doing it together. 3, 2, 1. Hands on our hips, and we're leaning forward as if we're bending in half. Good job. And then we're standing right back up. Excellent. So that's 1. Very good. Bending down, standing up. That's 2. You're doing wonderful. Bending over, standing up. And you should really feel this, like I said, in the backs of your thighs, in the muscles of your buttocks, because those are the bigger muscles that we're using to do this exercise. Okay? Awesome job, guys. I'm so proud. Very good job, Mary Ellen. This is a great exercise, like I said, because it's something that we have to be able to do every single day. Do you have any questions about that?
That you definitely feel it in the backs of your thighs, for sure. I mean, I definitely did. But we're not supposed to lock our knees, right? I did find myself locking my knees at the first one. I was like, oh no, don't do that.
Yes, definitely don't want to lock your knees. Have soft knees. There should be a slight bend in your knees, but definitely not straight, because you're going to feel a very strong stretch in the back of your legs if your knees are locked out. So that's not the movement we're going for. We just want to be able to work on those muscles in a different way. So having your knees slightly bent allows us to work on them more effectively.
Question before we move on.
Of course.
And of course, I told everyone else questions at the end. When you got the mic. Is there I'm thinking that, a lot of adults, older adults or not, are very tight in their hamstrings as a normal course of events. And I'm just wondering if they're, as far as stretching that, would something like the downward dog position in yoga be helpful to make that a little more flexible back there?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. If you know what the downward dog position is that you're basically in like a triangle, both hands on the floor, feet on the floor. That is an excellent exercise to stretch out your hamstrings, because it allows you to progress it in a way that's comfortable for you, because you can start off with your knees bent and then slowly straighten them as you add that flexibility. You can also do a hamstring stretch sitting down. So sitting in your chair, extending your legs straight out in front of you and trying to reach your toes is a great exercise, stretch for your hamstrings.
Zaki, do you mind demoing that for us?
Sure.
Sitting down and
so hopefully you can see me.
We can, yeah, perfectly.
Okay, yeah, so for this one, and let me just clarify by saying you have 2 muscles. Well, actually you have 3 muscles in the back of your hamstring that you want to be stretching, but we'll just focus on like the overall stretch of the hamstring. So sitting in the chair, what you can do is just stretch your leg out as far as you can.
Okay.
Knee should be straight, okay? And you're trying to reach down toward your toes. And I can already feel that stretch up here in the back of my thigh as you try to reach down toward your toes.
Hello, thighs. There they are.
Right?
There it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a great exercise too. And you can scale that, start off with your knee a little bit more bent sitting down. And then as you gain the flexibility, you can straighten your knee. So that way you're able to stretch all the way toward your toes. And that's also a really important movement, because we need to reach our toes to put our shoes and socks on. So that's a really great stretch in order to get that flexibility in your hamstrings.
All right. Okay, moving on.
So we were able to go over 2. So we have the squat, right? And then we have the deadlift or the hip hinge. The next exercise is the overhead press. So for this exercise, like I said at the beginning, this exercise, the reaching over your head, is something that we have to do every single day. And you're going to hear that theme throughout this entire workshop, because this is about function, right? We're at home right now. We want to make sure that you're able to do a lot of things on your own. And this is an exercise that you need to be incorporating into your everyday movement, your warm-ups, so that way you can reach in your cabinets. You want to reach up and put your shirt on, a sweater, do your dishes, grab a mug. You need to be able to lift your arm up over your head. So this exercise really incorporates a lot of muscles of your shoulder, but also incorporates a lot of muscles in your back too. So for this exercise, we're going to start off just doing one arm. And you can scale this and progress it by doing 2. We'll start off with one arm. I'm having my hand right in front of my shoulder. My elbow is next to my side. And what I'm doing is just pushing and raising my hand, almost as if I'm raising my hand in class to ask a question. So that's the motion that you want to try to do there. You're reaching up overhead, elbows next to your side. Okay, you'd be doing the same thing on the other side. You always want to be exercising both sides of your body.
You don't want to be lopsided.
Yes, we don't want to be lopsided. You want to be strong on both sides. So we're going to do this exercise together. If you need to do just one arm, we'll do 5 with one arm on the right side and 5 with one arm on the left side as a modification. So if you guys are ready, we're going to do this together. So 3, 2, 1. We're going up with the right arm, reaching up. Good job.
Right.
And then you can alternate if you want to, if that's what feels good to you.
No, I just
or you can do one side at a time.
I don't really know my right from my left.
That's okay. I sometimes don't either. So after you do that 5, go ahead and do your other arm. So reaching up overhead. Great job. And like I said, sometimes, just reaching up against gravity is hard enough. But, as we do these exercises, and great job everyone for doing those 5 on both sides, but as we do these exercises and as they get easier, you always want to make sure that you are challenging yourself. And challenging yourself by adding in some different types of resistance, which we'll talk all about after this next exercise. So I hope that one was really helpful, and it kind of lets you know, the theme that we're going through with this workshop is that each movement that you do every day, the tasks you do every day, require a certain amount of muscle strength. In order to do them, you need to be exercising the muscles that you need to do that task. So overhead press, reaching into cabinets, reaching in over doors, reaching into your closets. It's sweater season. Getting the sweaters out, you need to be able to reach up and grab them.
And for that one, I would just say that's also a really good one that you can do if you are someone who needs wheelchair bound.
Yes.
Or if you have mobility issues, super easy to do from a seated position.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, definitely. Yeah. So you can modify this if you are someone who is unable to do this exercise in standing. Definitely very easy to do in sitting. And something that we also don't realize when we're doing these types of movements, the overhead movements, is the muscles below, in our core, our back, all of those muscles have to engage in order for us to be able to lift our arm up. So it really is almost like a full body exercise to just be able to lift your arm up overhead. And if you do this in standing, you'll notice that there's a balance component to it as well. So trying to lift your arm up overhead, maybe you're alternating, you may feel your body swaying side to side or front to back. So there's a lot that goes into this movement. But there's a lot that goes into every movement that we do every day. So it's not just one muscle working. There are a lot of muscles working for this type of movement, and also all of the movements that we're doing today.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and do our wall push-up. So this one, hopefully, like if you have a wall close to you, that's great. If you are seated and have a table, you can do this with a table as well, and I will demonstrate that. So as I stated earlier, pushing and pulling are things that we do every day. We need to push and pull doors, crock pots. We need to do this motion, okay? And the wall push-up really focuses on those muscles in our chest, our backs, our arms, our triceps, those muscles in the back of our arms. So again, this is a multi-muscle exercise because we use more than one muscle doing our daily movement. So if you have a wall next to you and you're able to stand to do this, I'm gonna do it next to a wall. If you're unable to hear me, Mary Ellen, let me know because I'll have to step back a little bit further. So I have a wall here, okay? Hands against the wall. What you'll do is you'll stand facing the wall and you're gonna have your hands out on the wall, okay? Try to get your palms flat. That way you know that you are a good distance away, okay? So you wanna be arm's length distance away. Feet about shoulder width apart, and what you'll do is you are going to lean into the wall, okay? And then push the wall away. So you should really feel that in your chest, in your arms. You'll feel that your shoulder blades are coming together when you're leaning toward the wall. This is a really good upper body exercise.
Question.
Of course.
I'm really a stickler for form. Will our elbows be going out or will they be going down when we do this?
So your elbows will be going down.
Down.
So should it be going out? Should be going down toward your sides.
Like that? Or like that?
The first one.
Okay, that's down. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so you want your elbows coming down towards your sides to do that one. So if you're ready, we're gonna go ahead and try to do 5 of these against the wall, okay? So hands straight out in front of you. If you can have your hands about shoulder height, perfect. If you can't reach that high, just go a little bit lower to where it's comfortable, all right? Hands on the wall at shoulder height. We're gonna go in 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and lean toward the wall and push back up. So elbows coming down toward your sides, pushing that wall away. This exercise is using your body weight. Awesome job. You just have one more to do together. Great job, everybody. So it's an excellent exercise that if you have the ability to stand and maintain your balance, then you can definitely do that one. And if you can't stand, you can put your hands on a table and go ahead and push on a table to do it. So I hope these exercises are really helpful. So we went over the squat, the deadlift and the hip hinge, overhead press, and then the wall push-up.
So one of the things that I love about these 4 exercises, and by the way, you are going to get a PDF of this, yes, so that you don't, in case you forget some of the form tips, etc. But what I love about these 4 movements is you don't need a gym, you don't have to go anywhere. If it's raining out, you can still do your little exercise routine. And I know with the COVID pandemic, for so many of our seniors, it is very difficult, if not impossible, for them to get out of the house. Now, right. I see my mom is on this call, as a matter of fact, but I'm going to shout out. She's 85 years old, and before pandemic was doing water aerobics, low impact aerobics, water walking, this, that, and the other thing. Pandemic hit, everything closed down. Yeah. So I love that she's on this call because now she has a way to keep moving, because as Zykia said, you have to move it. Well, she didn't say this, but I'm saying this. You have to move it or you're going to lose it. right?
Mm-hmm.
And things that are in motion continue in motion. So it's just getting that get up to go and start doing it. That is the hardest part of all.
Yes. Yeah. That's the hardest part. And honestly, that's the hardest part for everyone. Getting that mustering up, that energy to just be like, okay, I need to move today.
Right.
But a great way to do that is, do these exercises, these 4 exercises in the morning. That's your routine. You wake up out of bed to get your day started, you start moving your body. And you'll notice that moving throughout your house is a lot easier because your body's warmed up now.
Right.
Those first few steps down the stairs, your knees don't feel as stiff because you're moving. You're moving before you start your day.
What would you recommend for those that are sitting all day, maybe because they have a desk job, for example? How can we incorporate these movements? I have a desk job, obviously. So what should I be doing throughout the day to incorporate these?
Yeah, so what I like to tell, and I tell my fiance this all the time, the best thing for you to do is actually stand. So if you're somebody who does have a desk job and you sit a lot, if you are able to, rig up some type of standing position for like your computer or your laptop, stand. Try to stand for at least 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then sit back down if you need to. Try to get some standing in throughout the day. But also what I like to tell him too is schedule in exercise. So everyone is very busy, especially if you have a sitting down job. Schedule it in, put it in your phone, have it on the calendar, a reminder, an alarm. Every day at 12 o'clock, right before he goes to lunch, he's doing exercises. Because not only does it help with your strength, but it gives you that extra boost of energy to finish the rest of the day. Right. So doing some type of making sure you're standing throughout the day. So if you're working an 8-hour day, try to stand twice each hour, even if it's just a stand up and a little stretch or something. Try to get up because you're going to start to notice that maybe those muscles in front of your hips might feel stiff and those knees might feel stiff. Absolutely. Try to get up and do some movement. But schedule in, even if it's just 5 minutes, you could do these 4 moves in 5 minutes. Schedule it in, make an alarm for it, have it set. If you need to set 4 alarms to remind you, do it. Because you need to get that movement in so that you don't feel that stiffness and that tiredness at the end of the day. Yeah. We've all been sitting at home. So you need that boost of energy to get us going.
All right, what else do you have for us before we go to Q&A?
So the one thing I just wanted to really talk about was, it's great to start off with moving your body against gravity, but you always want to be progressing and moving forward. And so the ways that we progress and move forward are by adding in some type of resistance. So even if you don't have dumbbells, even if you don't have any type of exercise equipment, you have things around your house that you can use for exercise. So if you use a cane, you can grab that cane and use that for your overhead press. Okay. You have cans of food, in your pantry. Use those cans of food for your exercises. So you can do, hold your cans of peas and you can do some squats to add in some added resistance, or even for the hip hinge or the deadlift. Our jugs of milk, they are heavy. They are very heavy. And you need to be able to lift that and put it in the refrigerator. So if you're able to work up to something of that weight, use that, use something, maybe you have an empty jug, you can put some water in it and use that for exercise. So you don't need to have equipment at home. You already have it there. It's just getting creative with how you're using it for exercise. But you always want to be progressing your exercises. You don't want to stay just doing, your bicep curls or something without weight, because our muscles need the challenge. And if you don't challenge them, you're not going to see a change, in your strength. So you always want to be challenging yourself and your body.
And therein lies the rub.
Yeah.
Because if it is easy, then you gotta challenge yourself again.
Exactly.
Right? Great. All right, good. Any last words before we go to Q&A? This has been terrific.
I don't think so. I'm just so happy to be here to like give you guys this information because it's so necessary, especially for our older adults, you know, to really stay moving.
So awesome. So next week, we're going to be talking about balance. So today was strength.
Yes.
Next Tuesday at noon, it's going to be all about balance and some movements that you can put into your exercise schedule to help with your balance. Then on week 3, we're talking about nutrition and mental health and the connection between your gut and what you put into it. Some people say everything starts in your gut. I kind of believe that as well. And I'm almost thinking we're going to need a 4th week of yoga moves or something.
I know. That would be amazing.
Fun like that. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let me check, see if we have any questions. While I'm looking on here, Tiffany, are there any questions from our Facebook friends?
No questions from Facebook yet.
Okay, terrific. Well, we must have done an amazing job because I'm not seeing any questions myself.
Awesome.
So this is your last chance. Questions or comments? Wow. So I will tell you this, Dr. LaRue is a licensed physical therapist, but she has a traveling business, don't you? Where you go to seniors' homes.
I do.
And you do accept Medicare, which is terrific. So if you are someone who might need a little bit of coaching, definitely look up Dr. LaRue. Oh, you're welcome. This was awesome, very clear information. You're very welcome. If you are someone who would like maybe a little bit of help with your day-to-day activities or some companionship, of course, we can do a free in-home consultation with you. Any of those numbers will connect you to me and my team. So, all right. I'm very excited. I think that this went well. I think that I cannot wait until next week. And I'm glad I have my own office because I think I'll be doing these stretches throughout the day, and it might look a little might look strange when I'm wearing my pumps in the office, but you know, you got to do what you got to do, right?
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do. All righty. I don't see any questions, so I thank you all so much for joining. Look for the link to sign up for next week. And Dr. LaRue, thank you so much. Go have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.